everyone. I am Anna and I'm here with Maleen. And today we are spilling the beans on what we teach our clients in our coaching program to achieve sustainable fat loss for the long term.
This is not what your doctor is telling you to do. It's in fact the complete opposite. Because as we all know, the diet industry and the medical industry will tell you to cut your calories and exercise like crazy on the treadmill, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, and most people, in order to do that, are, downloading all these complex calculators and calorie trackers and, wearing watches that will tell you how many calories you burn so you can enter that in and minus it from this. And it's a giant math problem that makes you totally insane.
Yeah, it's not a way to live. And who wants to do that for the rest of their lives, right?
Exactly. So we have simplified this process, and it doesn't have to be that complicated, right?
No.
So first and foremost, if you've followed us for any period of time, you will hear us consistently talk about protein.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, protein is queen. The first thing you want to do is start increasing your protein, and you want to get it up to target
150 is a good round figure for most people.
Per day.
150 grams of protein per day. Preferably coming from an animal source.
Chewable
protein, non-processed, non-breaded. So single ingredient whole food.
Yes.
And guys, this is the game changer in that, why does every single diet you've tried fail? It's because you're friggin' hungry all the time, right? You're hungry and you're craving. So this is the antidote. If you up your protein and go hard at trying to hit that target, A, you don't have room for any of the other garbage that you want to eat, right? And B, you're satisfied and you're full. And so we're not chasing that hunger all the time. We just answered it with protein.
Yeah, because you're nourishing your body at that cellular level. So it's not calling for all the extra crap throughout the day. And you feel good. And the hunger, the cravings, the nighttime raiding the pantry, it goes away.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Now your whole plate is full of animal protein. Basically, you don't have room for anything else, right? So if you hit that protein target, you don't want to eat anything else, meaning you'll naturally lower those carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Right? The carbohydrates, I'm talking not only sugar, but flours, starches, root vegetables, grains.
Yeah. And really, you want to think of protein as your salad, right? Instead of salad as your salad. So eat your protein first.
Because most people are trying to quell their hunger with a big salad, right? It's called volumetrics or volume eating, where you just eat low calorie food, but eat a lot of it. So it stuffs your stomach. So you have less room for meat and other things, right? So this is the opposite. This is completely opposite, but really targets your health at a cellular level. What we're doing when we drop the carbs is we're lowering the body's production of insulin, which is the fat storage hormone.
Yeah, exactly. So first and foremost, increase your protein to 150 grams per day. You can work yourself up to that. Lower your carbohydrates, 50 grams or less. Carbohydrates would be vegetables that grow above ground, berries.
Yeah.
And
so basically do the opposite of what your mom told you, which is finish your meat first. And if you have room, then you can have your vegetables.
Exactly. Add some fats for flavor, right?
Fats for flavor, fats to cook your meat in. Don't go hard on the fat. Don't pound back a bunch of, butter in your coffee. Because A, you'll get the shits, and B, you want to really be burning your body fat rather than eating a bunch of fat to burn.
Exactly. And butter, not margarine. So, also cardio. So stop Yeah, stop running like a maniac on the treadmill if you're trying to lose weight and you're already cutting calories, and just try walking. If you wanna do something, get out and walk. Fresh air.
Yeah, I think what most people don't realize is that, like, that big challenge that you do on the treadmill, it's really bumping up your stress hormone, which is cortisol. And that's leading to that stubborn belly fat that you can't get rid of. Plus the fat that coats the internal organs. That's called visceral fat, and that's a dangerous fat to have, right? That's the fat that's behind all that inflammation and the chronic diseases that we all get. So the treadmill can actually be making you sicker. The other thing it does is it makes you super hungry, right? So I would get rid of the treadmill, go walking instead.
Yeah, and you might not be hungry like right away, but I notice if I do something like really cardio intensive, I'm not hungry immediately, but later on I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I so hungry? And then you end up, if you haven't eaten enough protein, you end up binging on whatever comes across your nose. So that is super important.
Yeah.
And then of course, sleep. You want to prioritize sleep, right? So you want to be getting 7 to 8 hours a night, because we talked about cortisol.
Exactly. Not sleeping, your stress hormone is through the roof.
Yeah.
You're breaking down all of that stress fat.
Oh, exactly. And you can tell because you're snappy and cranky. And then, with the cortisol release, it also makes you crave high carbohydrate foods, and it's just a whole disaster waiting to happen. So get your sleep in. Once all that is in order, nutrition, sleep, stress, you've thrown away the treadmill, you're walking.
Yeah. Once your hunger and cravings are under control and things aren't looking so erratic and crazy all the time, then start doing some weightlifting, some resistance training. Lift heavy things.
Yes, exactly. And so push yourself, right? Just grab something heavy and lift it up, or do some squats, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You can start doing push-ups against the wall. You don't have to get down on the ground on your toes. Start small.
Yeah, because I think what people don't realize about resistance training is it actually triggers a big hormonal reaction where that's going to pull out fat from storage. Cardio is the opposite. It pulls circulating fat, right? And so that circulating fat was originally headed towards your cells to nourish your cells, but you just burned it with the cardio, which is why you're now hungry, right? So if you pull out fat from storage via your resistance training, usually you overshoot. You actually bring out more fat from storage than you need to do the activity. So you're just like burning. It's called the afterburn effect, where you're burning fat the whole day and often into the next day. The other thing about resistance training is you're building a solid base of muscle. The more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism is. And if you think about it, as we age, every decade we age, we're losing 1% to 3% of our muscle mass, which is why people tend to gain weight when they're older, even though they're not really changing their diet or exercise.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're losing the muscle mass. So now their metabolisms are slowed, which means you're more prone to storing fat than burning it.
Yes, exactly. It's a game changer, resistance training. So yeah, it's, that's like the real base of our program, right? But we also work on neuronutrition in our coaching program, because, people get really tripped up on how to implement this, and we tell ourselves all sorts of negative things when we set these crazy goals for ourselves, and we're going to change 10 things starting on Monday. And we wake up and, we get, midway through the morning and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm not going to achieve these goals. And then you start to doubt yourself and tell yourself all sorts of negative things, right? So
the stuff that we talked about, those 6 steps are really easy. And if you literally just do the first 3 steps, which are increase your protein, cut your carbs, eat moderate fat, you will get excellent results. But there's so many people, like you'll tell them this and, oh yeah, it sounds really good. And maybe you'll do it for a week or two, but then like life happens and you get completely derailed, right? So you either don't start or you completely fall flat. And the reason for that is because now we've just asked you to change, from what your mom taught you, which is eat a lot of vegetables. The diet industry just taught you to cut all your calories, and we're telling you to eat more. Yeah. Right? And so like whenever you try to change something, you're on board with your conscious mind, right? That's your willpower. That's the part of your mind that makes decisions after thinking about things. But you have your subconscious mind, which is all of those emotions and patterns and habits and things you picked up when you were 7. That's the part of your mind that's running on autopilot. If you think about it, your subconscious mind controls 95% of what your brain is doing. The other 5% is controlled by your conscious mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's why, that's why you go through and then you end up reverting back to some old habits because you're going back to that safe zone, right?
Yeah. And what are those old habits? I mean, nighttime snacking is one, stress eating is another one, emotional eating, like all of that shit gets in the way.
Under eating.
Yeah.
Because we've been programmed, for so many years being on diets and we see it all the time, that people go back to that safety, that feeling of safety where they feel like I've been on a diet all my life. So you see them slowly creep into under eating. So
it takes time to, first you have to dismantle all of that crap that you learned growing up, right? All that diet culture crap that you learned as a teenager.
Yeah.
You have to unlearn that, and then you have to lay down new habits, and that takes time. And so the research shows like minimum 66 days. It's not the 21 days that everyone talks about. It's at least 66 days, upwards, up till like a year. So you have to really get into the groove and start repeating things, because the brain learns through repetition.
Yeah.
Right? So keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again until it overrides your old patterns and becomes the new normal that happens on autopilot now.
Exactly. And it's often hard to do that on your own, right? It's, that's why we have a coaching program, so that we can guide you through, work alongside you, partner with you to make these changes, and just coach you through it when you're starting to kind of slip back into those old habits. Because the more you repeat it, the more it becomes second nature, right? So you have to get a little bit outside your comfort zone, and we help with that. So.
And the other thing is the accountability is huge, right? If you have the accountability built in, and we will chase you down and find you.
We will hunt you down.
The accountability increases your odds of success by 80%. That's huge.
Yeah.
Right? And that's usually why you get a meal plan or whatever, right? And you fail because there's nobody checking up on you.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. We help you, but we're not providing this blanket approach or this meal plan, and we could provide a million meal plans, but you also have to have or learn that self accountability, right? So that after the 3 months that we've worked together, that you're able to do self check-ins and able to know how to navigate life without a meal plan, without a calorie calculator, right? Without, someone overseeing everything. So we help you to build that solid base, so that allows you to go on well past the 3 months and feel confident that you got it.
Yeah, so this is 90 days of intense help and support, teaching you what to do for fat loss, but also how to do it. Because a lot of the how has to do with how you're thinking, how you're laying down new habits.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you would like more info on our Diet Killer Transformation Coaching Program, we will drop the details in the comments under this video, and feel free to send us a DM with any questions.